How's it going, YouTube? My name is Ari and welcome to Blue Lion Finance, a channel solely dedicated to investing as well as my very own personal journey to amassing $100,000 with my Vanguard brokerage account. Now, as of today, that account is sitting at $73,248.31. It is actually down by $70.60 since our last video. Now, that market volatility that I've been talking about in the last handful of videos that I've thrown up onto YouTube, well, it's all stemming from the great human condition in which we all suffer from, and that is the fear of the unknown, uncertainty, and of course our own inability to predict the future, which all leads me to today's video in which we're going to be taking some steps in a bit of a different direction, talking all about the Delta variant, things you have to know as an investor, and then most importantly, the 3 stocks that I just sold in order to best prepare for the Delta variant, and what I am personally doing in terms of a strategic portfolio pivot in order to not only outbeat the Delta variant, but make sure I'm always coming out on top when it comes to the stock market. So with that being said, certainly a video you will not want to miss out on. Just before we actually begin, you know what to do. Go ahead, tap on that thumbs up button for me, as it greatly helps me out in growing the Blue Lion Finance channel and getting the word out there. If you have not already subscribed, go ahead, tap on that subscribe button for me. I would not only love to have you along this journey with me, but want each and every one of you to take advantage of the giveaway that we have underway as we speak, in which I'm going to be sending one lucky winner a $50 One Hope Wines gift card. You're going to be able to pick out the wine of your choice. It will be sent directly to you, and that's all you have to do is be a subscriber. The moment this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. Now, YouTube, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get right to it. So I'd like to kick us off for today's video in sharing with you a couple of the most important traits an investor must have, whether or not you're an experienced investor or an investor who's literally just getting started with your first couple of trades. Every single investor has to have these 2 traits in order to be a successful investor. Now, the first deals within being able to control your emotions. That means that number 1, you're not just panic selling when times get tough. And number 2, you're not hype buying when everybody is seemingly buying into a certain stock. Say these meme stocks that more recently have been picking up and becoming a trend. Now, the second trait that I want to talk about that is arguably even more important for an investor to have is the ability to observe.
Observe what, you asked?
That is a fantastic question. It is the ability to observe absolutely everything, from everything that you see to everything that you hear. An investor must be able to observe. Now, when you're out there observing what's going on around you, you just have to note that the market is a direct reflection of all of us. That simply means that when we're in outright panic, when we're full of fear, we're pretty much selling off all of our stocks, the market is obviously on its decline. However, when we're full of more certainty and there's more of a status quo, you can easily see the market then trending upwards. Now, all of this is important because with the Delta variant right around the corner, there is bound to be market volatility, in which we've already been seeing in the last handful of days. But I am predicting that there is going to be an even bigger drop come the next couple of weeks to a couple of months. Time will just take time because the Delta variant is already here, at least from what I'm observing. Now, this all leads me to a walk I was on with my girlfriend just a couple of days ago. We were coming back from good old Trader Joe's, and on that walk, she had mentioned how worried she was about the Delta variant and started to question whether or not she would need to mask up again in order to protect herself from Delta. Now, that got me thinking, I wonder whether or not there are more people out there thinking exactly as she's thinking right now. And sure enough, there are plenty more people thinking this very same way. Now, I did some more boots on the ground recon work just within the 612 unit residential tower that I manage within New York City. And sure enough, I realized that more of the residents are masking up once again. I went down to the gym within the building and I asked the fitness manager whether or not he's noticed any changes. And he too has noticed that those residents who found it safe enough to take those masks off are now once again putting those masks back on when they come down to the gym. Now that is all very alarming, but I did go ahead and take it another step further just to make sure I'm doing my own personal due diligence. So I threw up a good old social media poll and found that the vast majority of my following are certainly afraid of the Delta variant, and even more of them believe, whether or not they were afraid of the Delta variant, that more restrictions are on their way. Now, if none of this personal reconnaissance that I have done has swayed your opinion in any which way, I want to go ahead and bring you to the CDC's website, where we can go ahead and click on the COVID tracker that gives you a weekly breakdown of what's going on with COVID cases. Now, we can see here that there is a spike in COVID cases due to the Delta variant. This spike is certainly not supposed to be here if we were totally out and in the clear. So once again, I am predicting that there is going to be another massive dip within the market, and that is just an opportunity for investors like you and I to, of course, buy that dip and take advantage of the downfall when everybody is in mass panic. It's just like good old Warren Buffett says, that it's best to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Now, I want to get right to the 3 stocks that I just sold because each of them lie within the travel sector, a sector that I truly believe is going to take a massive beating if the Delta variant forces more restrictions upon all of us. Now, with that being said, the very first stock I want to talk about is Royal Caribbean, that's ticker symbol RCL. Now, I bought 5 shares of Royal Caribbean back in March 2020 lows, and just selling out of that position, I brought in a cool $230.70 from Royal Caribbean. Next up, I sold out of my position with Carnival Cruise Lines, that's ticker symbol CCL. Now, Carnival Cruise Lines I also bought back in March of 2020 when they dipped to their lowest point. Now, with Carnival Cruise Lines selling out of that position, I brought in only $33.27, but hey, a profit is a profit. Now, last but not least, we have Delta Airlines, that's ticker symbol DAL. I also bought Delta back in the March 2020 lows, and selling out of that position entirely just yesterday, I brought in $195.71 from Delta Airlines. So all in all, with those 3 stock sales, I brought in a grand total of $459.68 worth of a tax-free profit. Now, I say tax-free because each of those stocks were within my Roth IRA, meaning I already paid taxes on them. Now, moving forward, what I'm going to be doing is making sure that I'm only buying quality companies that I can literally just hold on to for the long run, which brings me to the big reveal of what I'm about to do with my entire portfolio and that portfolio pivot that I talked about at the very beginning of this video, which ultimately just boils down to me doing some more personal portfolio house cleaning, if you will, and selling off of more positions within my portfolio that I no longer feel are healthy enough to be there. Now, this entire portfolio pivot is actually a strategy that takes after Bill Ackman's portfolio. At any given time, he has only about 10 holdings within his portfolio over at Pershing Square. So without further ado, Bill Ackman, everybody.
The view that why not own the best 10 or 11 investments as opposed to ideas 12 through 25 or 12 through 100, which is more typical. And I think there are very few great investments at any one time. So the ability to concentrate is an enormously valuable asset of a strategy. The problem with it is it leads to bumpier returns. And it leads to more attention on mistakes or things that aren't going well. I don't know a portfolio manager that doesn't have a stock that's down in his portfolio, right? But you don't read articles about, we're getting an awful lot of attention for a pretty high profile situation that's struggling. But I think it depends on what your business model is. But if you want to make high rates of return over a long period of time, it's hard to do that being very diversified. I mean, if you look through the Forbes 400, wealthiest people in the world, most of them made their fortune in one business or a portfolio of 2 businesses. Very few made it in a portfolio of 100. So it's that, and the other benefit, it allows you to run a much simpler investment firm. We have an 8-person investment team. If we had 30 names, we couldn't manage that portfolio the way we do with a small team.
And there you have it from Mr. Bill Ackman himself, talking about owning the top 10 best positions you can possibly invest in. Now, that is far better than owning the next best 12 through 25 or 25 through 50. As of right now, I currently have between 50 to 60 stocks within my personal portfolio. But as mentioned, I'm going to be trimming down on those positions, only investing in the healthiest of all of them. Now, I want to make sure that each of my positions are paying me out in dividends, because that is certainly an amazing way to just generate passive income. Now, if you've liked this video, you've learned something new, you've taken something away, go ahead, drop comments below. I'd love to read through them, especially if they're your thoughts on Delta. Most importantly here, go ahead, tap on that thumbs up button. It certainly helps me out in growing this channel and getting the word out there. And of course, subscribe to this channel by just simply tapping on that subscribe button. Now, YouTube, with all of that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.